Okay.
All right. I'd like to open the call to order for the Natural Resource Committee on September 11th, 2019. Guess we'll go into the approval of the minutes. I know a bunch of us have been reading it here. Do I have any motions?
Is everybody okay with the agenda?
Oh, yeah, agenda. Yeah, is everybody okay with the agenda for today?
Yes.
Okay. Anything, no additions or anything? Okay. Then let's move on to the minutes.
I move to approve based on my limited memory.
I second that.
All right.
Sorry, my.
I second your memory. Yes. We'll confirm that it is accurate. It's correct.
All right. Those all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. We approve the minutes from December 12th, 2018.
Great, thank you.
Yep. I do not have any public comments tonight. Does not look like. So on to old business. I think the first thing we threw on there was the kind of look at the work plan. And I talked briefly with Pete today, and he had made up this nice list of kind of the different points in regards to the city's plan, or what are the points that were off?
Well,
I forget.
I kind of took inspiration from what the city commission is attempting to do with their work sessions, because they have a lot of them. And they did a ranking in order to prioritize things. I don't think we're in the same kind of crunch situation that those guys are, given the limited amount of time they have to work on things. But at the same time, I like the format, and I hope that it will help us not only prioritize some of the activities that we've got on our list, but also possibly add new ones within the time frame that we were talking about. So I was kind of planning on this being homework, and then we could come back and if you wish to do this on your home computer, I sent a copy of it via email as well.
Okay.
You can respond directly back to me, and I'll compile all of your comments and numbers, and then send it back out to the group once I get everything in.
Okay.
However many. So it'll be, highest priority would be 1, and so on. If you have something that you'd like to add, and if you have any comments, feel free to write them in. And then if you want to, suggest something and make that a higher priority, that's totally fine too. But before we add anything that's a suggestion, if the committee thinks this is a good idea, that is, we would evaluate it at the next meeting before we add it to the list. And I'm happy to make any changes to this that you guys think is necessary to make it a little more useful.
I have some questions. Basically, this is, of course, the textual form, I think, of the same table that you sent us. And
Right.
I had some questions about it.
Sure.
Yeah.
The others too.
Right away.
2A, simplify the nomination process. It says that it's completed. And my question is, is now part of the code?
So what happened, there's been a lot of night meetings this week, and this is, not last night. Monday night, Planning Commission discussed it and endorsed it.
Okay.
And it's going to City Commission next week on the 18th for the first reading of the ordinance, which is a public hearing. So that just got published today, and the city recorder puts out a public notice that there's going to be an ordinance read, so people will know about it, and the newspaper has it and stuff like that. So, it's still a draft until
The city commission.
the city commission approves the first reading, and they may suggest changes to it and postpone if they want if they want to do that, and they may, they may want staff to go away and bring it back to the NRC. I don't know if they have certain things. Yeah.
You know the date? Do you specify the date of the?
Yeah, so it's the 18th, which is,
I would suggest that either the chair, or
Yeah.
if he's available, or the vice chair, if he's not, be present there and to answer any questions that come up.
yeah, that would be wonderful. It would mean a
Yeah,
lot
sure.
to have somebody there to talk about the work that you guys did. Because I think I said that we talked about it 3 times, and there could have been more, but the 3 that I found in the agenda where we actually had it as an item, there were 3 of those, which is what I put in the staff report for the city commission. When the plan commission discussed it, they had a few questions, particularly with respect to how it relates to the other tree codes, and I explained that it is intended to be separate and voluntary type of process, but it is legally binding on the landowner. And then we explained why the arborist report went away.
Right.
And there didn't seem to be any opposition to that at all. So that was good. So yeah, those were the main questions about it. There may be more questions from the city commission.
Right.
Yeah, so.
Okay, then that brings another question. I know, and we were appreciative of it. I know our planning director had earmarked, I think, $300.
Yeah.
That was for an arborist, basically, or was that at our discretion? Because what I'm thinking
Yeah.
is, if that $300 is still there, perhaps we can do write-ups either in the Trail News or other things, and perhaps do mailings, specific mailings and so forth. Working with the neighborhood association is important, but most people don't attend neighborhood association meetings.
Right.
And so if that $300 is still available,
It is.
we should be able to promote the Heritage Tree Program in a way that we haven't before.
That's a good point.
There's that, and another positive thing is that when we did some of the code amendments, we, in the section that talks about the tree mitigation fund, which is in chapter 1741, we expanded the language of that section to state that it could be used for more than just planting trees. That it could be used for educational purposes as well. So the tree mitigation fund is another source of money, but we haven't decided in a public setting
Right.
what to really do with that money, because it's the accounts are run by the finance department, so they know what's going in and what's going out, and it is a significant amount of money because of the various development applications that have had to contribute to it. So that's another potential thing. And I haven't spoken with Laura or the Planning Commission or anybody yet about what to do next in that regard. I think that's going to be a discussion that we'll need to have with you guys as well, and PrAC as well, potentially. But the nice thing about it is within the planning department's budget and oversight.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be nice.
that's cool.
Yeah.
So that's as much as I'll say about that. But yes, the $300 is still there.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
And was that something we have to use this year?
No. Whenever.
Okay.
Yeah.
The number 4 we have here, the supportive process naming a local natural and geological features, and we specifically called out the Waterboard Park. Jerry Herman was the prime pusher on this one, and I support it, but we have taken no action on it, and as we look through it, I think we should look through it to see if these goals we put here are reasonably met. And are these biennial goals?
The idea was that they would match the biennium, yeah, that
Okay.
the city commission,
Yeah.
just because, but, you know, they don't have to be.
Well, no, it'd be nice if they were, because I think some of these goals are gonna be difficult, I think, to meet within a year period, but it is a biennial. If we regard this, I mean, we can alter the goals as we go by, I'm sure, but if we look at this as what we'll be doing over this next fiscal year, which essentially is starting in July, I guess, July 1?
Yeah,
That was
that's
the
right.
beginning. So this is implemented within the fiscal year, so we essentially have two years to do this. But I think we need to take a close look at it and see if there are things that, either because of how we prioritize them or because of the complexity on any of these goals, whether we want to keep some of these, keep them all, to add additional ones and so forth. But that was my thought I had there. A couple other things popped out, but I think they're better left for future agenda items, and I'll bring them up later.
Okay.
To me, on this sheet, 2 and 4 are kind of the same.
So I think
Yeah.
in your written document, 3 and 4 are subsets of 2.
Oh, you're right.
So it's like a 2, number
Yeah.
3 is 2A, number 4 is 2B.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, in the text, it doesn't read that way. I mean, the number, I'm looking at the textual
Right.
things, so they're not
I
identical.
don't have that.
Yeah, they're not
2,
identical.
3, and
So the one I was talking about had to do with the Waterboard Park designation.
Right, yeah, but
Yeah.
the ones on here, you know, even 1, although that's more neighborhood association, citizen involvement, and then such as the Heritage Tree, but Arbor Day and other stuff, so that's separate a little bit, but
Okay.
2, 3, and 4 are all related to, you know, we've done the 3 part of it, at least as much as we can right now, but 2 and 4 just, you know, seem like
Yeah,
the same thing.
yeah. I think, yeah.
I think
Four
in
is
your
a little
text,
more
they're numbered differently, and I don't know if the text number 2, I think, puts them together, I believe, maybe not.
Yeah, as like 2A and 2B. They're
Yeah.
both A and B there support the participation in the program.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. All right, well, how, should I make it match what's in the agenda document?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would think so.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, if you could, I think it'd make it
Yeah.
straightforward.
All right, so 2A and 2B?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
One of the things I think would be challenging for us, because it's going to involve other entities to support habitat projects in and around the cove by seeking additional funding through the super fund. Did we have John Runyon speak to us about that?
Not yet. Previously, but it was a long time ago.
Right.
It was about 2 years ago.
Yeah,
I've heard almost
Maybe
nothing.
more.
Have heard almost nothing about it. And I think it would be good to bring him in. I know he felt, I talked to him maybe 5 or 6 months ago, and he felt that it'd be difficult to gain ground on this when no action has yet been taken by the city, and the units are being built already and so forth, but it would be good to hear from him to see what that potential is. He's involved in many other things, and so I don't know. I think he was specifically working on this particular effort, but if he's not, and I don't know that we're really in a position to do that unless we hire somebody to do it or something like that, which of course would require approval from the city commission. Anyway, I'm not saying kick it out at this point, but I am saying basically bring John Runyon back if we can and see where he feels this is. If we don't have anybody, I'll say, of his caliber pushing this at this point, I don't know if we're going to be able to do much.
Okay.
But I don't want to break out of it at this point.
Right, so-
But I agree, getting John in would be,
First have a presentation and then have a discussion about what,
yeah, yeah.
okay, yeah.
I'm going again by the text that you sent us, and under activities, the one that's completed, consider advice on NROD pre-projection, upland habit code amendments as needed, and that's completed. What has changed in terms of wetland delineations with what's gone through the planning commission and so on?
Right now, the Kenema wetland addition to the natural resources overlay district is still, the application will be considered complete once I meet with the neighborhood association, which is on the 19th.
Now, is this
An
the
isolated-
delineation, or is this the specific development, the cottage?
It's the delineation that was done by the cottage developer that would be added, that particular wetland would be added into the NROD.
Okay.
And it has to go to the planning commission.
And we expressed concerns about it based on basically the design we saw. Had that been modified at all?
What's going on at the moment, there was some concerns raised by a resident in Kenema that they were encroaching in the wetland and had done some trenching. And DSL, Anita Huffman from the Department of State Lands went out to the site the day before yesterday and did an inspection and then wrote a detailed response back to the managerial staff and to in response to Paul Egger. There's a meeting that may have been, there's a meeting scheduled tomorrow between staff and the developer about that.
Okay.
The DSL's position, based on their site visit, was that they had done work in the wetland. It looked like it was under the 50 cubic yard threshold, and it didn't rise to the point of requiring a DSL permit still. However, that doesn't change the fact that they did something that was not within the city's land use approval. Mm-hmm. That's the issue, is that the local approval and the conditions of approval and the site plans that it was based on, they've in violation of that. So they're going to deal with that tomorrow. Yeah.
The other one that we've mentioned here, of course, is the Filbert Run delineation.
Right.
That has not been changed.
As far as I know, in terms of the map,
Yes.
right, not yet. No.
The reason I'm bringing up this
Yeah.
question now is Parks Department is seeking funds for developing that park.
Right.
And whether or not it should include vegetation within the actual corridor that's there, I think is something that ought to be looked at. I mean, it's just basically grass there, although it looks like and perhaps it's happened naturally, the nature of the grass is perhaps a little bit different next to where the seasonal stream is compared to the other area, but I don't know grasses, so I don't know what I'm talking about really. But if that process, even if that process is not formalized, I think it would be good if the planning department and Parks and Recreation Department discuss that issue on that delineation and make determination how that might affect the development plans of the park.
Right, okay. Okay, yeah, I'll talk to Phil Lewis about that and see where they're at status-wise.
And there are a couple things that dropped out of this that I don't think require changes, but there are questions, and I'll bring that up in perhaps future agenda items.
Yeah, okay. So it sounds to me like, yeah, if you wanted to write that in as
Yeah.
a suggested it,
And I can work off your text, right?
yes, yeah.
Was this in Word or was it?
Yeah, no, that one is in a different format. What is that?
Which means I can't edit it.
Yeah, you talking about the
The
support
one
letter?
that you attached, actually.
Yeah, that's not an editable document, but I can,
Did you put it in Word or something?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
Okay, oh, thank you.
yeah, sure. Yep. Yeah, I should mention while we're on the topic that we're gonna, we did get one of the grants already that we applied for the comprehensive plan update, which is the one from the Oregon Department of Transportation and Growth Management Program. The one that we're asking for your support on the grant is a very similar program, but a different agency. It's from Department of Land Conservation and Development, and it's called a Technical Assistance Grant. And the nice thing about these grants is that we've just learned that ODOT and DLCD will actually allow us to combine the grants and the scopes so that we can augment the process.
Oh, wow, that's cool.
Really good.
Yeah, because, yeah, the focus of the comprehensive plan update from a scope perspective, it will be a long process with a lot of public outreach in order to be able to engage the widest possible group of people. And the first part of it is basically a visioning process, and the second part of it is sitting down and working through what elements of the plan need to be updated. And there's a big focus on equity and resiliency, the things that are very important right now, not just for Oregon City, but statewide. And a lot of grant applications are based on looking at equity. And that has ramifications not just for housing, but for the natural resources and everything else. So we would be applying for that technical assistance grant. We have to put in the application by mid-October. And then there would be a scope refinement process that'll probably take us into 2020, and we won't actually start the work until spring of 2020. Yeah. So but I get the sense that both agencies are supportive of Oregon City, which is nice.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
I'm going to ask a question that is going to apply to an agenda item. Does the comprehensive plan, we have a trail master's plan.
Right.
Does the comprehensive plan include the trails master plan? Will that be looked at as part of that?
There needs to be a recreational component because there's a state land use goal, but it won't go into the same level of detail that the Trails Master Plan does.
Okay,
Yeah,
but
Yeah.
still that will be
yeah.
something that we can look at.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, every one of the statewide land use goals, we'll have to take a look at. The question really is, how do we either lump them together for the best public input? And if we're going to have committees working on one goal or two goals or three goals, then potentially all of the things that are governed by all the natural resources components are going to fall into like 3 or 4 land use goals. So that kind of thing. And then we have an economic development component, but it doesn't have to be so, just by the numbers categorized the way that the old comprehensive plan is. It's sort of like it follows the statewide land use goals, and it's a very logical way if you're a planner to look at a plan. But it's not necessarily a format that the general public is familiar with. So the topic areas and the things that we really are going to want to outline will come out of that visioning process the first year. We still have to make findings based on state land use criteria and state land use goals, but the plan itself
How long?
has to be a usable document.
I know I went through it once before, but I don't remember.
You were here, I wasn't.
How long does this, once you get your funding, how long does this process normally take? A year? 2 years?
2 years.
Okay, 2 years.
Easily.
So that'll be
Yeah.
part of our, I guess, our 2-year vision. Well, do you have any idea when the grant will be awarded? You've got the
Well, I
one.
think we've got one of them, and I would think we would find out about the second one by the end of the year.
Okay.
Hopefully,
All right.
yeah, by the end of the year.
Okay.
Yeah. Need to check on that, actually. Yeah, I think so, though.
Okay.
We'll at least have informal indication.
So one goal probably we ought to put forward, because it's within the biennial we're talking about, involvement in the comprehensive plan.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah, it's going to be a huge effort. I think it will take the time of at least 2 staff. Christina and I will probably be working on it with every spare moment that we have as co-project managers. But and then we kind of have to make sure that we can finish up the current projects that we got going in order to make way for this. The Beaver Creek Road zoning, the transportation demand management process that Kelly Reed is working on with the Transportation Advisory Committee, and we'll wrap that up hopefully this year. And then, we'll always have the other projects going on. So Willamette Falls Legacy Project and then all the development review that we are required to do. So, yeah. We will need your help.
So do we need to approve this then for you guys, or?
Yeah, if you've had time to take a look at it, Laura actually sent out this is a revision to what was in the agenda, so that went out today. So if you
You sent the revision to us. I think that's what I have. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
They have a couple of grammatical things, which
Which of those?
they're witches. You have witches that should be that.
Witches that should be.
You always should go on a witch hunt when you do writing.
Very good.
I found 3 witches in here.
Tis the season.
Thank you. I will definitely.
It is getting to that season, isn't it? Yes.
So you had 3 suggestions then?
Yeah, just they were witches that should have been that.
That's right. I think we make a motion, and
They were just minor grammatical things.
but with, might as well take some credit. With the suggested edits. You want to make that motion? To approve the letter with the suggested edits?
Yeah, I move to approve the letter with the suggested edits.
I'll second that. Can I second that?
Yeah, I guess.
You can't make a motion, but you
Okay.
can second.
Okay, that's what I thought. I'll second that, yeah.
Nice.
So all in favor of accepting this letter with edits?
We've been informed by our Director of Parks and Recreations, we have to take a roll call on any motions we make.
Oh,
It is a
okay.
requirement.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so we were doing that in PrAC, and our current director says, no, because of the nature
Okay.
of bylaws and so forth.
Sure.
Okay.
We can do a tally.
So just call out people's names?
I can
you do it? Okay.
Matt Cool,
I'm in favor.
Trent Warnes,
I'm in favor.
Doug
I'm
Neal,
in favor.
Nancy Brochop.
I'm in favor.
Okay. Mike Hamilton, Mike did indicate to me today via email that he was supportive of the letter,
Okay.
even though he's out of town, so.
Cool.
All right, thanks. Anything else on the work plan, or you want to get back to me in the interim?
We actually shifted over to.
We kind of jumped over, but that's okay.
We jumped right into 6.
Yeah.
I might, like I said, take this home as
Take it
homework.
home.
And we can
And
kind of
just
pick
ask
it
me any
apart.
questions you want,
Yeah.
anything that you think is are worthy of addition and you need more information about, just give me a call or email me.
And if the grant or the comprehensive plan isn't in here, we really need to add that.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's under number 2, and so responsibility number 2. So we would probably fall under there.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. Great. Well, with that,
All right, so does anybody, I know we kind of talked about the grant. Anybody else have any other new business they'd like to talk about, or old business?
communications.
Under communications, I guess I'd just like to tell you a little bit the natural resource, Oregon City, not natural resource, Oregon City Watershed Council.
Yeah.
I think I've talked about it before, but things are advancing. That there was, that we have a partnership between 4 watershed councils, ours, North Clackamas, Johnson Creek, and then the Clackamas Basin, Clackamas Basin Watershed Council applied for a grant, a six-year grant period from the Oregon Water Enhancement Board, which is funded by lottery dollars. And we've got 2 projects that will be on Abernathy Creek or its tributaries. One is the lower section of Newell Creek. In the past, it's been identified as a steelhead spawning habitat. And there's a grant that is one of the grant pieces was to actually place woody material into that area. This is in partnership with the Metro Regional Government. It's their property. They'll be funding a great portion of the matching piece to that phase, but they want the Watershed Council to be the lead on it. As part of their outreach program, probably. But anyway, we believe we can pull in a group called Port Blakely, which is a forest group. I don't know if you know it.
Yeah, I do know Port Blakely.
Yeah, and they actually have substantial land holdings on upper Abernathy Creek. We've been working with them, and they seem to be have a strong stewardship direction, and we're thinking maybe they would be willing to donate the woody material for the project. They would not give us marketable trees, but we don't want marketable trees.
No.
It's not necessary for the salmon habitat. And so we believe that's going to be another partner and serve as a match in our effort. The other piece is upper Abernathy Creek. We have hired Todd Ellsbury, who used to be the division director of the Department of Fish and Wildlife here, and he now has his own firm, and he is currently doing a rapid bioassessment of Upper Abernathy Creek. In fact, all of the land holdings in the watershed I was talking about of Port Blakely is on Upper Abernathy Creek. He's also visited the homeowners association that's associated with the dam that's there right off of Innerisi Road. There's quite apparently a barrier. There's about a 50, no, I'm going to say this wrong. There's more than a 5-degree centigrade difference between the temperatures on Upper Abernathy and those in the lake. So it's probably somewhat of a thermal barrier. But we believe that to the extent we can manage it, that the neighborhood association may in fact be partners in an effort to, if not deal with the stream issues, find mechanisms to make the flow so it goes more directly into the spillway, and it's not a deep lake, so it heats up right away, and so we've started that particular project, and those will probably be our 2 main projects coming up over the next 2 years.
Okay, yeah, and the Abernathy Creek one was the one that we signed off on for the for Rita, I believe, right, a month ago. She needed a local, apparently OWEB needed a local planning sign off for the
Okay.
grant to move forward.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we signed that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that might be for Newell Creek because it's within our urban reserve. It's not within the city itself. But Rita is our coordinator, Rita Baker.
Right.
Yeah. So those two things are advancing on.
I'm good. Well, actually, if you need some help with Port Blake, I do know some people there, so
We're good. Yeah, good.
if needs be, I could reach out and,
Yeah, we have had 2 meetings with them so
Okay.
far. Yeah.
yeah, they're a good company. They're actually really good, so.
And David Stewart, who is a relatively new employee with Department of Fish and Wildlife, he was instrumental in making modifications on the fish ladder there, and we know that cohort, in fact, going up there to spawn. The thing is, the anecdotal evidence suggests that the coho runs into Abernathy Creek used to be very large, and they are no longer. However, the survey they did last year in terms of red counts, they found what they're pretty certain are 2 fall Chinook red counts in lower Abernathy Creek. And historically, we know they were there, but then they're going predominantly by the size of the red and thinking that they're fall Chinook, which is good. I mean, it gives us another salmoniid in our system.
It's cool.
Yeah.
Wow. That's good.
Thanks, Doug. You got anything? No? Thank you. Nancy?
I don't have anything.
I know, I saw something, I don't know, it was something about trees and the
Yeah.
Department of Public Works and all that.
Was it Public Works or the Parks Department?
I'm not sure. The article I read, it was a headline and I got like a blurb and then it like, you need to subscribe, so I didn't get
Oh, they've
into
got
the in-depth of it.
they've got a, paywall up on the,
Yeah,
City News.
yeah, so I saw John Lewis's name, so that's all I kind of took from it. So I was just kind of curious what
Was it
happened.
John Lewis? The swimming pool is the one that's received
I think that's what it
attention.
was, yeah.
What happened was, they had arborist reports for these 2 trees that they removed, but they didn't get the planning approval that they needed.
Okay,
So they did the work, but they didn't get the permit.
they didn't file it.
And they're doing, one of both trees were on site, so they were on the tax lots by the swimming pool tax lot. One was a diseased oak, and it was hollow. The other one apparently was fairly healthy, but it was lifting the sidewalk and causing a tripping hazard. So it was the same procedure. We calculated the mitigation that they were required to do under the code, and they have to mitigate 4 trees. Yeah.
I figured it wasn't that big a deal. I was just curious what.
Well, it was.
It's a big deal to the neighborhood because
Yeah, it
that's
was-
like about 3 blocks from my house.
Okay.
It was a big.
People who live around there are really pissed.
Yeah. I received a call very.
Because that oak tree was really nice and
Yeah.
it wasn't that bad. I
And,
went and
yeah,
looked
it's
at
in the
it.
paper
Dee Dee had to go
and
look at it because she
so-
was nominating it for a heritage tree.
All the staff have been
Yeah.
trained
So
accordingly, so.
it was just a public affair,
Yeah.
you know, it was a public nightmare in terms of
Well,
publicity and for the city
Yeah, and then it
negative.
went to the city commission, I believe, but I haven't seen the meeting video, but it's in there.
I'm just saying, if we cut down every tree that's lifting the sidewalk, we're not gonna have any trees left.
I
Because One
know.
of my neighbors, they've got a tree, I don't even think it's 10 feet tall and it's
Right.
lifting the sidewalk, so.
So it was,
That
it was
the
a
reason
cost.
for Cutting down the trees.
The arborist had made certain
The walnut was healthy,
recommendations.
it was lifting the sidewalk.
And that was the reason for cutting
Yeah,
it
it was a
down.
black walnut, which there are fewer and
We
fewer
don't,
because
we
there's a
don't allow
disease that's
residents to
wiping
do
them
that.
out.
We have them
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
remove the slab and perhaps cut the root, and
Yeah.
that has potential effect on the tree itself if you do cut the root.
Right.
But
You can cut black walnuts quite a bit in there because I've got one in my yard.
Yeah.
yeah,
That was where the information really fell. There was kind of a lack of information about the decision that was made.
It just went in and cut them down and nobody in the
And
neighborhood had any clue
there
they were
wasn't
gonna do that ahead of time. I think that was the reason.
There wasn't a calculation of what the cost of avoidance would have been, really, as far as what the potential was if you had cut the root and what the sidewalk alternative could have been, and whether the cost of that was prohibitive for the Parks Department, which it's always cost prohibitive for the Parks Department, you know.
It is for everybody who lives in the city as well.
I know, I was gonna say. But that sidewalk liability is a big issue.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, anyway, living.
I heard also that the oak though was, the swimming pool's thinking of expanding out that way, and that oak was in where the expansion was gonna go. That's the scuttlebutt in the neighborhood. I don't know if that's true or not, but I heard that even before the trees were cut down.
Well, I haven't seen any plans with respect to
Right.
that, so I
Right.
couldn't comment.
Yeah, so I mean, it's, that's the
Yeah,
scuttlebutt
I don't know,
going around.
I have no about that,
Yeah.
but yeah, it's all right. So that's that going
Okay,
on.
well, that's
And that
all right.
probably won't be the end of it.
Yeah, that's kind of what I figured,
The
yeah.
big question is, is the city going to do the same thing for mitigation that we do?
Do they have to plant white oaks? Aren't they supposed to plant white oaks if they put
Yeah,
a white oak
that's
down?
right.
That was a big white oak.
Yeah. No, that's what the code says now.
Of course, it'll take 200 years to get an oak that big, so.
Yeah, it will. I mean, there's what the code requires, and then there's what Parks decides to do.
Well,
Yeah,
let-
I mean,
let's ignore
above and
the-
beyond.
On those two
Yeah.
mitigated trees, it should be white oak, right?
Right.
Well, the one was,
Yeah,
At
well, you
least-
gotta
at
include
least
two
one of
for
them.
right.
So there should be two white oaks.
There's
Why
four
don't we
trees.
relax our requirements and call those heritage trees so that they're protected for 200 years?
Upon planting the new ones?
Yes,
Yeah.
they'll be healthy then.
Yeah.
Don't they have to be
I mean,
bigger
a little
than, they have to be bigger than a certain diameter, come on.
Well, that's what I said.
Well,
We have to relax, that's what I said, we gotta relax that for those trees.
Once they
It's
achieve
only
that
2
diameter.
inches in diameter.
Like 2 inches, you know, I can't remember which is one. One's got one thing, one's got two, you know? So,
Cool. Does anybody else have any other communication stuff?
I've got a few things, nothing too much, because we've already covered most of them. Sorry. So the Hiroshima Trees grant application, these are ginkgo seedlings that survived the Hiroshima bombing, and the Department of Forestry is making those available to municipalities. And I believe Phil Lewis is interested and has going to talk to PrAC about it at your upcoming meeting about sites.
yeah.
Excellent.
I'm sure they saw it,
Hopefully
but
they're the male side.
That's the thing, they
You don't know a seedling, because I have a
That's right,
female,
I can't remember,
I have a female in my yard.
Okay.
They're recommending
So if anybody
planting
wants more
them in a
seedlings,
place
I've
that.
got,
Well, yeah, because that's the issue, because you really don't want the female ones out
Yeah.
as much.
they're really nice until
Oh, yeah,
they
until
fall
they-
off in the
yep,
fall,
yep.
and then they
And
become
then
puke
they
balls. Every
smell
morning
like-
in the fall, I go out and pick up
I
little
presume-
puke balls before my dog walks
Smell
through.
like
them.
rotted flesh.
Yeah.
lovely.
No, they smell like puke. They're
Oh,
vomit. We call them puke balls.
even worse.
is it something dogs would eat?
No, but my dog walks through them and then she walks in the house, so I go out and
Because
pick them off the
it's supposed
sidewalk.
to be a
and-
horrible thing, yeah.
I have been told that certain cultures actually find the fruit very delectable and choice, and I've never tried to eat, and I don't know what stage you eat the fruit at, probably before it gets
Right
to
before
that.
it gets too bad. I
Because
would
they're on the
imagine.
ground by that
Yeah,
point,
yeah.
kind of, but I keep going, I need to contact people to see if anybody wants to come harvest. They can take all they want off the tree. My tree is loaded this year.
Oh, that's cool.
And
It's
then,
really neat though.
the other thing is we do have a type 2 natural resource overlay district verification application in for the property owned by Ron Saunders. The application has not been deemed complete yet. Once it's deemed complete, we'll send out a public notice. It was prepared by AKS Engineering and Forestry, who have a wetland specialist on their staff. They're wanting to verify that the wetland and stream that was on that property was improperly mapped and is no longer there. So that's what they're asking for. And that has to be a type 2 application with public notice and comment.
Who specifies the group that does the evaluation? Do we? Or does the?
The code requires that the report be prepared by an environmental professional and prepared according to DSL methodology. And then the decision is rendered by Community Development Director.
See, I get nervous because in the time when we had these no steep slope ordinance and the developments were going on, they hired a geologist, the developer hired a geologist that said there would be no problem. And
Yeah,
of course, the planning commission brought in a geologist that said there would be a problem, the city commission.
dueling expert.
And,
Yeah.
Yeah, that was
and
a
that's
disaster.
the concern I have. Are they working for the property owner or somebody we identify that they pay for?
Yeah, okay. Fair question. They're working for the property owner.
Yeah.
And yeah, I haven't looked at the report yet,
Yeah.
but that's coming up. And then Heritage Tree Code, I talked about that.
Yay.
The Newell Creek Canyon project, they're pulling building permits for their suspension bridges that are gonna be placed over the wetlands. And those all have footings that have to be inspected by the building division and that sort of thing. So planning signed off on the permit issuance today, but there's some other review that has to be done. So I would expect that they're planning to start work soon. I can't tell you exactly when, but,
One of those, I went on the tour that Metro gave of what's going to be the first phase on the loop there.
okay.
And one of the suspension bridges is going over a seasonal stream. That's actually the same stream that goes through the Red Soils Project. But it's a steep grade, and I saw it earlier, actually, and when the water's flowing, it's a rather impressive drop there across rocks and so forth. So
Yeah,
it's
that'll
going to be
be
great. It's going to be a great trail, I'm sure.
Yeah. That's all I have. Updates.
Anybody got, I mean, we've got some points here. What did we have on the docket that we've been trying to get speakers for? I know we've been talking about it.
John Runyon,
Okay.
talk about the Cove, and then the folks from the Northwest Coalition for Alternatives to Pesticides. Jerry wanted to see if they would come and give a presentation, and I've reached out to them, but I haven't gotten a response yet. And I don't know if there was anything else you guys.
I thought there was
Want me to
something else, but
track
I
down?
can't remember.
I can only think about, I was wanting to hear about the legacy or the landmark.
Oh, the Legacy Project.
Legacy project stuff, yeah.
Right.
So I imagine that's probably not changed, but it's whatever's going on with the sale of the property and all that stuff.
Well, yeah, I can ask Christina and Kelly to come to the next meeting and give us an update on that.
Great.
That'd be cool.
Yeah.
So I guess we're on future agenda items then.
Yep, sorry, yeah.
No, that's fine. Somebody else, could be Christina again, I don't know, maybe not her. But I'd like to find out the status of the Cove project. I think
Okay.
something delayed their advance, I understand, at the last Urban Renewal Commission meeting. And if that's the case, I'd like to, what the issues are.
Right. I don't know the status. I know that Tony Conkle and Laura Turway were talking with the developer recently to see when phase 2 is going to be coming in for their detailed development plan for the buildings. So the site plan and design review for the actual buildings. But what was approved, they haven't started work on yet. The actual grading. So I'll see what the status is. I haven't heard.
Other agenda item, we mentioned in there, we have an annual joint meeting with Parks.
Yeah.
And, we do have this trail master plan, and I'm going to suggest that we have a meeting in the not distant future. But I think it'd be helpful for both of us to look at what the current trails master plan is, how much of it has advanced, which I don't think is very much, and also discuss the nomination of trees for the heritage list. I know there are some people on on PrAC that are interested in nominating some trees, and I think probably we all should give some thought individually as to nominating trees, so when we go out there with the public push, we can indicate as examples of what
what
trees
we were
have been
looking at.
nominated. So those are two items that we might want to have at the joint meeting.
The process of nomination
Yeah.
on public land or just in general?
I would say probably on public land.
Yeah, keep it simple for now.
Yeah, because I'm not asking to get landowner consent on it at this
Right.
time, but we're interested in getting landowners interested, and I think if we can show that the city is taking this on seriously, then I think,
If they start showing up, then people will start going, oh, I didn't know that we had
yeah,
that.
right.
Okay. All right, so, Trails Master Plan, a process of nomination of heritage trees, and the nuts and bolts of that with, and maybe that would be is that gonna be a tour, or is that more of just a present
I think a
discussion?
presentation.
A presentation.
I don't know we have that many trees to look at.
No, we don't. And then, let's see, we were talking about inviting presentation for Willamette Falls Legacy Project, an update on the Cove, discussion with John Runyon about Lower Harbor Fund and if that's even a feasible option at the moment. And, yeah, so, trees. Yeah, we've got quite a bit. And then we've got the NCAP presentation as well, which,
Did Public Works ever get a new manager or engineer or
Yeah,
whatever?
yeah.
Did they?
Vance, I think that's what you're talking about.
Vance Walker.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I'm not sure he's come and talked to you guys yet, has he?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Right. I just learned that they just hired a tourism coordinator too, for the city.
Oh,
He showed up at the chamber meeting this morning.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I didn't have a chance to go and say hello, but
right.
he was there. He's
So-
awfully young.
Well, everybody is.
It's funny how that works.
Yeah. I used to be awfully young.
Yeah, me too.
Somewhere I heard that they put signs up about the swallows.
Oh,
That
really?
somebody went out to watch the swallows the other day, and I don't know if they were up on the hill or down below, but said there were signs up. I don't know who put them up, but there were signs up as to when the best viewing
Really?
time was, and that, there's been a lot of talk on Oregon City Chit Chat, so I'm kind
Yeah.
of directing people.
Yeah.
But somebody said they went downtown and they go, why are all those people standing by the pizza place there? And so
So we got
it's getting out. The word is getting out on our swallows. I guess
That's
they're
cool.
Swiss.
the box with,
They're really
Fox
Swiss,
Swiss,
not
yeah.
swallows.
but, yeah, 2 years ago I was watching and a bird of prey was there right on the chimney. Finally one great bird went and a lot of the birds went, but he did pull out one of them right away, so.
Yeah. All right, anything else that anybody wants, future agenda?
Filbert Run, the Filbert Run master plan status, that's the other thing.
Yeah, I think, yeah.
Okay. No, okay.
Specifically how it relates to delineation.
Yeah, all right. Okay. All right. Write that up and get it in the hopper. Okay, that's all I have.
All right. Anything else? Guess we'll adjourn for the night.
All right.
Thank you.